Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Football Nation podcast. Tonight, I am joined by two regulars on the show tonight, Crazy Boom and FM King. Boys, how are you tonight?
Good.
Yeah, not too bad, thanks.
Good stuff, good stuff. So we've got a bit of an interesting podcast tonight. We'll do our usual, go over some of the big games over the weekend. But the main talking point tonight is the recent news regarding about the World Cup in 2026. So we'll come to that a bit later on. But tonight we'll start with our league roundup. So we'll be starting with Boom's favourite subject for this week, Liverpool Football Club. So Liverpool with an absolute week to forget. Boom. You want to start us off on this one?
Yes, because I heard all week about 7-Up's this, 7-Up. I couldn't get away from the bloody 7-Up all week. And then to go to that and go to bottom of the league at the time, Bournemouth, which I said the good weekend, bad weekend. When bottom of the week at the time, when you lose to them, it's an interesting thing. And they could have drawn, but for some reason Mo Salah decided to hit the ball at me in my own garden back there.
But yeah, what
The
did you think?
the roses have not stayed the same, Chris.
Eh?
The roses have not stayed the same. They're all completely destroyed out there.
King, what did you think about the game on Saturday?
I mean, first things first, it's great to see a Man U fan taking the piss out of Liverpool losing to Bournemouth when they failed to beat a 10-man, failed to beat Southampton.
We were down to 10 men for most of that game.
I know that was coming. Still Southampton.
No, and also, if you know result, that's actually a good result because the last few times we've gone down to 10 men, we've conceded a goal. Every time we've gone down to 10 men.
Still Southampton, though.
They're our bogey team. In the last few years, they've gotten great results against United.
So, but yeah, about the game, I think Liverpool just played badly. They had chances to get a result out of it, but just never took them. Bournemouth seems to be doing quite well against these big sides, don't they? They need to beat Arsenal the way before.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
although Salah should be scoring that penalty, but he blasted 7 miles wide for some weird reason in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, Liverpool's season. That literally just sums up Liverpool's season in a nutshell. They beat Man United 7-0.
They beat the rival 7-0. Yeah, they're fully back, and then they lose the Bournemouth.
Yeah, that literally just sums up Liverpool. And then obviously last night in the Champions League, that's out of the Champions League. So this season, I don't think they've got any silverware to compete in.
It's top 4 or bust.
Yeah, top 4 now.
Quite surprised that they lost it.
And their run up for that top 4 coming after the international is a very, very tough. They have Man City, Chelsea, and Arsenal back to back the first 3 games back after the international break. So
I think you were going to say there something.
It's just going to sound quite surprised that they lost it really as well because they've been on a decent run. I mean, well, for Liverpool this season, should I say? Yeah. They've been on an all right run, so it was a bit.
Yeah, they had 2 wins in a row, and then they did this coming into that Bournemouth game.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it kind of sums up Liverpool's season, but you look at
Liverpool. Is a team that they beat 9-0 at the beginning of the season.
I mean, you look at Liverpool, their squad. I mean, it was near enough a full strength squad. Virtually a full strength squad that Klopp could choose from against Bournemouth. I mean, you had Kanate playing, you had Van Dijk playing, you had Salah playing, Diaz.
Issue was really good, even though he's injured. Sadly, he's injured now until the end of the season, so I wish him the best in his recovery.
And then you've got Nunez, who's actually in a wee bit of decent form coming into that game, and it was just like they hadn't played with each other. And then the one person who I'm going to pick out, and I'm going to pick him out for one reason only, because they said he was the best right back in the Premier League, and that is Trent Alexander-Arnold. That man cannot defend he's terrible. But King, I'm going to ask you a question, right? So if you're Trent Alexander-Arnold, what is going through your mind at this moment in time? Why? What's happened? Do you think it's fatigue or what?
For me, I don't think Trent Alexander-Arnold's a right wing back at best, but
Yeah.
more of a right midfielder, maybe even a right winger. Could also play Mazzala or a central attacking midfield role. But I
Yeah.
think that he's never been able to defend. Defending's never been his strong point. But before defensively, Liverpool sides have always had the two main centre backs, Fabinho or somebody that sits in front of the back four, and they've always been solid.
The thing is, we didn't notice it enough like previous seasons because they were always attacking, so we never really noticed Trent having to defend.
When them fullbacks go forward and they got broke on before, the defenders or the central midfielders would break up that play. They'd break it up high up the
Van
pitch.
Dijk would be he's gone missing this season.
Now they're not being able to break it up high up the pitch, and they're being caught out in areas where obviously it's dangerous. So I know that he's not playing well defensively. I mean, he's not really playing well. He's lost his attacking threat, and I think that's why he's being picked out a lot more. But I don't just think it's him. I don't just think it's down to him.
I mean, their CDM has been criticized a lot by their fans. I've been listening to Fabinho. Has gotten a lot of criticism.
Even Van Dijk's not been good enough this season.
And I also will question Chris, because you said before Nunes is a good run of form, which he was. The last 2 games, Klopp has taken him off in the second half at some point when you need a goal.
Exactly. I mean,
it's a weird one from Jurgen Klopp to doing those kind of decisions.
I mean, and you replace him with a person who's not really in form, and Bobby Firmino as well sometimes, or for instance, Jota, who's just come back from injury. But I was talking to some of my work colleagues today. So 5 years, Trent Alexander-Arnold's been in the limelight at Liverpool. Who's been his push to be the number one right wing back in that Liverpool team? There's been absolutely nobody. So what I said was, Trent's got so comfortable that he literally cannot be dropped. He's a golden boy of Liverpool. He's Mr. Liverpool. He's taken on from Steven Gerrard.
The backup has been James Milner just being shoved into that position.
And he's 52 now?
Because they signed the kid from like Aberdeen that never seen the light of day.
Yeah. But I just don't understand what I mean. Liverpool season has just been weird this season completely. It is just one of those ones. It's how does Klopp fix this? Because he's going to need a lot of money in the summer to fix it, and I don't see them getting that much, depending on what happens.
And with the new rules, they would need to get Champions League football to have a lot of money.
Yep.
With the way that's going.
Oh, but financial fair play is just a myth, isn't it?
They're trying to change it to make it to stop you from doing your 8-year account. They're trying to change it for this.
I mean, that's not going to be changed by the summer. Nah. And even if it is, let's face it, what they're going to do, fine them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Exactly. Like, these clubs will take the fine. It's not.
Liverpool have never been a spendy club though, so FSG might not like the fine.
Well, Liverpool haven't. Well, you said Liverpool haven't been a spendy club. They've been spent £90 million on Darwin Núñez and $90 million on.
See, a lot of that has been stuff that they sold. Like before. They've only started. This is the first season where they've actually splashed out a lot of money for a striker. Other years they've been investing quite like normal amounts from what they sold from like transfers like Coutinho and stuff.
Yeah. But moving on to the next one, Chelsea bounced back with 3 results on the spin. Good results in the Champions League and in the league as well.
Right back in Reece James.
Yes. King, what do you think about this game against Leicester at the weekend? 3-1 victory.
I think it was a good result for Chelsea, bearing in mind the season that they've had. Leicester as well, they've gone sort of rekindled their form of late, if that's what you want to call it. They're getting better than they was at the start of the season.
Do you think Leicester will be okay towards the end of the season, or do you still think they can get dragged into that bit of relegation fight?
I still think they're in the relegation fight, but I do think they'll have enough to get out of it. I think there's certain teams down there that the squads are just too good.
If we look for the man himself, Brendan Rodgers, he said today from 12th to 20th, it's a mini league for the relegation. what he said himself in his press conference.
It's probably not wrong, to be
So
fair.
now in the end of the season.
What about you, Ben? What do you think about the result on Saturday for Chelsea? Or was it Saturday? No, Sunday. Saturday.
I think it was a good result. The questionable challenge, from my perspective, from what I saw with the United game and stuff that I saw the next day that was given, a lot of those fouls should have been given to Chelsea that the Leicester players did.
I mean, that challenge on Yao Felix itself was an absolute. That should be common assault.
And then that ref the next day gave a lesser challenge a red card.
Yeah, Mr. Andre Manor.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Andre Manor.
It's bizarre to me.
I mean, we'll probably talk about VAR in another part of the show, but VAR this season and referees in general are just absolutely abysmal. I mean, properly abysmal.
I mean, it's a good goal from Daka, to be fair to him. For the
very. I mean, no keeper has said that it's power. It's moving all around the place. But
they went in. They thought they were going in at halftime with 1-1, and they were happy.
Yeah. Then Mr. Enzo Fernandez popped up with a nice little bit of skill into Kai Havertz,
and then a very professional second half with Kovacic going there. And Mudryk could have got goals. There was a lot of people trying to go for the 007 meme, but then he got an assist, so he kind of ruined it on all the fans on there.
I mean, it's looking a lot better for Chelsea. I mean, let's say the Champions League as well. I mean, great result against Dortmund.
A big boost.
Very, very good.
Like I said, when that happened, Chris, you needed to use that to spur you on for more wins, and it looks like you have done that.
Well, it'll be put to the test against a team who's again looking for wins in Everton on Saturday.
I mean, and then after the international break, you have Villa and then Liverpool, two teams that also want wins.
That's 6 points. That's 6 points right there. I was looking for a wee reaction there, King. Right, next one. We're still top of the talk about the title race just now. Manchester City still on the coattails of Arsenal. Yes, Man City only won 1-0 at the weekend against a very resolute Crystal Palace team. A bit of naivety from Michael Olise.
It was a terrible performance from Man City, even though they won.
Yeah. King, what do you think about this one? The challenge from Olise on Gundogan, wasn't it? I think it was for the penalty.
I didn't actually see the game, to be honest.
You didn't see it?
No, I haven't seen it, so I couldn't comment on the challenge. I think Man City, from what I've seen from the stats and that, they had a lot of chances and couldn't take them. Although I did watch Man City last night, and if they can produce performances like they played last night, not last night, Tuesday night, if they can produce performances like that between now and the end of the season in the league, they're going to be a force, because Tuesday night they were out of this world. Now, I know it was only a Leipzig team, but Leipzig have been in very good form of late.
Yeah.
But Leipzig do have those kind of results in them, because one season we did beat them 5-0.
The movement between the Man City players and stuff was just
Leipzig
were non-existent, although Edison should have been sent off on that one.
Yes, I was about to say. I mean, it could have been a wholly different game. But here's a question for you, right? So Pep's not been really playing a certain Kevin De Bruyne of late. He's been coming off the bench. Do you think that's a good move from Pep, or do you think he's?
I mean, like he said to himself, Kevin needs to go back to basics. Obviously, there's something there that he's not happy with that Kevin's been doing lately.
Well, he did call him out as well in the press conference before the Champions League.
Yeah.
And he did play very well on Tuesday evening. So I don't know whether that was a little, kick up the backside.
But I watched that Palace game, and it was very both sides did not want to try and win that for the most part. The shots were terrible. Palace didn't even get a shot on target. They were just, let's just hope we get 0-0 here. And Man City couldn't do anything, and then it was a very fortunate pen, because it was a stupid challenge from
Olise.
Naivety, and then Haaland scores, and that was the end of that, because it was a very boring game, so only one chance you needed.
And continue with the title race. Arsenal that first half against Fulham was some of the best football I've seen Arsenal play this season. But I was surprised because of how well Fulham have been playing it late. It was a kind of eye opener for Fulham fans and like the kind of Premier League football fans in general, because Fulham have, like I said, Fulham have been playing very well recently. Then that first half, it looked like they hadn't been playing together at all this season. I mean, I don't know.
But they do have an impressive win rate against Fulham in total. It's 72% of their Premier League games against Fulham. Arsenal have won.
Yeah, but you look at it. Look at that. Looking at the form that Fulham had been coming into that game, very positive, and then to perform like that in the first half. I mean, if the warning shot wasn't there when the first goal got disallowed, correctly so, and then 2 minutes later,
but you got to put it down to Arsenal have just been very good this season. Like this game, they become the first English side in history to win 5 consecutive London derbies away from home without conceding.
Okay, that's interesting.
Let's face facts. London teams this season, apart from Arsenal, haven't been very good, though, have they?
No, they haven't.
No, it's not been much of a. When they played Tottenham just parted and didn't show up.
I was very shocked about this result as well because, like you said, Chris, Fulham have been playing really well, and I think if it wasn't for Newcastle doing so well, Fulham would be more talked about as the team that's sort of trying to break in. So it did shock me, but then I think it does show a bit of ruthlessness from Arsenal, which is something that they may have been questioned about. And I know that I've questioned that ruthlessness from them. So if they can continue getting results like that against a Fulham outfit that's been very good this season, then, it's going to help their title race a lot.
I agree. But you look at it, I think a bit of a loss came when there was no that Palhinha. He's been playing for Fulham recently. He looks like he's been touted for going to do bigger things with, like, been linked with Liverpool, been linked with Manchester United as well, been linked with going back abroad. But if you're, say for instance, Fulham do get Europa League, that's probably if they can get Europa League, then that is an absolute win for Fulham this season, because they're everyone's favourites to get relegated this season, along with probably Southampton.
But even if they just miss out, it's still a good season for them.
I think if you look at it, Fulham this season have defied all odds.
Like at the moment they're 9th, so that's a good position for them.
They're
still fighting for that like top 6 and 7.
Everyone said, "Oh, you can't get Mitrovic to score in the Premier League." Look at this season; They
were right until this season.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's something I'm going to start doing from maybe now on. Who's been your team of the weekend in the Premier League, guys? Just one team and one team only. Team for the weekend. Who are we going to go for? Who's your outstanding team of this weekend?
Well, I don't know. I think, to be honest, I think the weekend games in the Premier League were a bit dead. I'd have to pick either Tottenham or Chelsea, and I'll go with Chelsea because they played a team that's probably a bit better. Managing to score 3 goals away from home, that's almost as much as they scored since.
I'd have to pick Everton. I'd have to pick Everton just for beating Brentford, like a very informed Brentford.
That's true.
Hold on to that took very good character from them.
I must have Dwight McNeil first minute goal then.
And they could have scored more. They had the chance to make it 2-0 at one point in that game, but just.
Everton did well to get that result, but Brentford definitely should have scored. They had a lot of chances second half.
It's currently 1-0 to Arsenal against Sporting Lisbon. Granit Xhaka's just scored. So that's now 3-2 to Arsenal, and it's currently 1-0 to Bayer Leverkusen. They're now 3-0.
Arsenal also had to make an early substitution with Tomiyasu coming off injured.
That could be a bit of a blow for, not really a blow. He's more of a kind of squad player now, Tomiyasu. But
they have to put on their main Ben White back on.
So we'll jump into. Let's go across the pond now. No, not across the pond. Let's go across into the Mediterranean and go to La Liga. So. See how Ramit said we were talking about VAR controversy? Barcelona versus Atletico Bilbao. that is probably going to be very much talked about recently. The goal that Rafinha scored, and then the goal that I think it was Inaki Williams, I think it got disallowed on at the weekend for a handball that didn't look like a handball. VAR and then limelight again, guys. What was your opinion on this one, Boom?
Bizarre calls on the side. Barca they've got very much the luck on their side in La Liga this year. A lot of things.
Barcelona
decisions are going their way. They didn't look too good in this game, they still get a result because, like I said, look at the side that VAR decision denies Inaki Williams his first league goal since October.
Yeah. What about you, King? How did you see this one going regarding about some of the decisions that were in this game?
I didn't watch all of the game. I've only seen some of the highlights. So from what I've seen, it was a lot of possession from Barcelona, as you can expect. But I think Athletic Club were unlucky. Athletic Bilbao were unlucky.
Yeah,
because they had a lot of chances. Was it a mistake by the ref, or has Barcelona paid this ref, or what's happened? You know what I mean?
Because see, that's what we don't know
allegedly,
about
allegedly. So Football Nation.
That apparently there's been multiple payments, and there's coming from different accounts as well. So
yeah,
Athletic Bilbao had more shots in this game than Barcelona. They had 5 to Barca's 2 on target.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably talk about it in maybe a week or so's podcast regarding about Barcelona and what's going on with that. But
because they have been banned from the summer window at the moment until they sell a bunch of.
Well, do you know what this means as well? Ronaldo's now the real GOAT because half of Messi's accolades should be taken off him because they cheated.
Well, there's rumours going around that Mr. Florentino Perez was involved as well. So
is there? No,
yes.
I don't know about that.
There is.
You know who needs to be? They need to bring back up. Where's this Man City thing gone? No one's talked about it since those.
Oh, that's getting investigated behind the scenes. That's getting very much investigated behind the scenes.
The media has stopped. The media has stopped talking about it though.
Well, I think because they did say it could take up to 4 years to decide what's going to happen, which is absolutely bonkers.
Which is stupid if they win like so many things between now and 4 years, but it's just like, well, they clearly cheated most of this.
So, as we're talking about Mr. Perez, kind of nice we segue into Real Madrid coasting by Espanyol 3-1 to keep the pressure on Barcelona and their choice.
It's hard to call it pressure at the moment, it's considering the gap, but you know.
Well, they still. I mean, if Barcelona drop points and Real Madrid keep on winning, you never know.
But the problem is like they don't seem to be dropping points. Barca, they get like I said, they're very much getting the look of on their side. Whether that's from questionable controversy that we don't that's not confirmed yet or not, but they seem to be getting the look on their side.
I mean, I watched some of the game last night against Liverpool, and I watched some of the game against Espanyol at the weekend. Real Madrid look like they're starting to get a wee bit of form, but it's
sure. After the 5-2, they drew the derby, then they just narrowly lost to Barca. Then they drew to Real Betis. And so then
it's inconsistent form from Real Madrid. That's what's killing them this season.
That's what it's been in the league for like the most part, and the whole Spanish thing. They seem to only be getting their normal kind of results in the Champions League knockouts.
Yeah,
just ahead. That's like they're still trying with that because that's very much what they view as their trophy, the Champions League, because they won it so much.
Yeah. What about you, King? What regards to this one? How did you see Real Madrid? Do you think their form has just been too inconsistent this season to mount a comeback in the for the title race, or do you think they can still maybe do it?
I think they played well the weekend. I don't think they'll be back in the title race because Barcelona haven't been great and they're still winning. And
it'll be interesting to see the El Clásicos this Sunday.
Yeah, but I mean, even if Real Madrid win that, it's what
it's still
59, 6 points difference. 6 points. Barca's got to drop 2 games. I just can't. I don't know whether they're going to do it.
And
There's
lastly,
been a goal for West Ham apparently.
1-0 to West Ham against who's it they're playing? Like Olarenka in the conference.
The old conference.
But last game in La Liga is a relegation kind of dogfight between Valencia and Sevilla, two teams that have not been playing well at all in the league, and it's two much valuable victories for the Spanish team. I mean, that's Valencia now out of the bottom three. When the last time we talked, they were well in the bottom three. How do you think these ones go? How do you think the results for Sevilla and Valencia would benefit from this season?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely needed them results, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, Valencia won 1-0, and Sevilla just beat Almeria, who are in that kind of zone as well, to win on Sunday there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sevilla pulled out of it a bit more. I don't know compared to the others.
It's more a big result for Valencia because Sevilla have won more recently than Valencia as a whole this season.
Yeah.
So this is more valuable of a victory for Valencia in their situation.
I'm looking at the league just now. I mean, Valencia still only 2 points behind Sevilla in the league.
I was saying they got like one win. Sevilla
crazy.
got one win more recently than in the league than Valencia have.
And do you know? I'm just looking at this, right? So Valencia have got the best goal difference out of the bottom teams. They're on 0 goal difference. Scored 28, conceded 28. And then you look at Sevilla. They're on -11. So if they look at the kind of head-to-head goal difference kind of thing, that could be a bit of a beneficial for Valencia if
Valencia have
they can keep up.
stopped learning how to win. So this might be a good lesson to them in how to actually see out a result.
Exactly.
Yeah, wouldn't.
Exactly. And last but not least, we'll go into the Bundesliga. Bayern Munich crushing. Well, not was it crushing.
A great weekend for Bayern Munich results wise.
Yeah.
For the rivals too. Because like I said in my thing, good weekend, bad weekend. Dortmund dropping points, Union Berlin dropping points. The only one below them that got points was Leipzig, and that just puts them into the contention rather than being a challenge.
Guys, how did you see this one? The Bayern Munich game against Augsburg, 5-3. It finished up to Bayern Munich. It was a bit of a
Augsburg took the lead.
Yeah. Is that British? No, I thought it was somebody else. I thought it was somebody different.
In the beginning, you thought, oh, this could be a very bad game for Bayern Munich, the way it started, but then Bayern Munich became Bayern Munich again. A
certain Mr. João Cancelo getting his goal for Bayern Munich. Will he be loved again? Was that him back in the good books after he's fallen out with another manager?
And then Pavard, just the defenders were scoring in this game because Davies also scored.
Yeah, I mean, King, how did you see this one, Bayern Munich? Do you think they're going to win another title, or do you think Dortmund can still bring it back?
It's still in the balance, I think, isn't it? I mean, the draw for Dortmund against Schalke won't help a lot because they probably should have won that
difference between them with that draw.
Yeah,
Dortmund probably should have beat Schalke, but yeah, you'd expect Bayern to beat Augsburg. And to be fair, even though they went behind, I know Augsburg played well to score 3. But I mean, by the time they got the second, the game was probably already done.
I mean, you look at it, you go away from home, you score 3 goals, you get beat 5-3. I mean, you're like, what else have we got to do?
It's quite interesting how the table is panned out now, considering both Dortmund and Bayern at the beginning of the season before the World Cup break were not at their best.
Yeah.
Showings. And it was Union Berlin and Freiburg that were up in the top 2 at that point.
Exactly. I mean, it's been a more of an interesting Bundesliga this season, I would say. Don't know if you guys would agree with me on that one, but I think it's been more entertaining because you have had the different ones, like you said, Union Berlin, Freiburg, Leipzig being kind of back up there as well. Mainz were even up there for a short spell, but they've kind of tailed off a little bit. But that's we kind of just touched on it there. But the Dortmund game, I mean, how has Dortmund not won this game, King? How have they drawn 2 each against Schalke, against bottom of the table Schalke? Oh, sorry, second bottom of the table now after the draw.
Yeah, I think their manager Marco Rose. No, that's not their manager, is it? That's Leipzig's manager.
Yeah.
The Dortmund manager will have to be disappointed with this because they did have the chances to go on and win it, and they had a lot of the possession. You know, they should have won this game. To be honest, I know that Schalke lately have picked it up a little bit, and they are doing
They've been
better.
getting a lot of draws, Schalke, which they need to start trying to pick up points in their relegation battle. So it's definitely a relegation battle type result from Schalke here.
Even though Schalke are picking up points now, Dortmund should be knocking them out the park.
Yeah.
But,
I would just have to put this down to Derby, perhaps Schalke were just
up for it.
Up for it more.
Also, haven't Dortmund got a few injuries at the minute as well?
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking. I was just kind of looking at the lineup there. I mean, they had a few out of the weekend there. So no Kamara, the Kobel's injured, Brandt's injured, Adiemi's injured, Royce is injured, and Moyakoko is injured as well. So they've got there's especially Adiemi and Royce and Brandt as well. I think Brandt's been outstanding this season.
They were playing Guerrero
Dortmund
as a midfielder.
So, I mean, you could say it's a point. I mean, it's definitely 2 points dropped if you're a Dortmund fan, but it's also in the relegation scrap for Schalke, this is a massive point.
Massive result.
Yeah.
Well, if you're looking at Dortmund, these are the games you need to be winning if you're going to try and topple the dominance of Bayern Munich.
I agree.
The last 3 years.
I agree. And last but not least in the roundup is Leipzig versus Borussia Mönchengladbach. Easy for a Scotsman to say.
Good result. Puts Leipzig back in the title contention.
I mean, they've had a week like they've kind of had a week like Liverpool. I mean, get a good result against Man City.
They're now on the same points of Union Berlin, and they overtake them on goal difference.
I mean, you look at Leipzig, right, get a good draw against Man City. Then they win their game. I think they won their game the week after.
Yeah, they won against Frankfurt directly.
Frankfurt again, and a good result. Then get hammered 7-0 off a Man City at home.
Before that, they lost 2-1 to Dortmund. Before that,
yeah, it's just been Leipzig's been. I would say that kind of like Liverpool's form. It's just up and down all the time. But
they had a bit more ups than Liverpool have had more recently.
Do you think Leipzig Champions League qualification for this next season? Do you think that'll be a good season for Leipzig after the start they had before, King?
Yeah, I think that's what their aim will be for this season. Top 4. They should get that as well.
Maybe the Pokal because they played Dortmund in the quarterfinals of that.
Yeah, maybe top 4 in a cup. They might be looking at that.
What about you, Bim? Do you think top 4 cup good season for Leipzig?
I think top 4 would be a good season the way it is. They might be going for the cup. If you beat Dortmund, then you could say they're in for the cup. It's then just the small margin of Bayern Munich still in the cup as well.
Yeah. Well, that has been our roundup of the kind of top kind of big games we've had.
One bit of an update from the Arsenal game. Saliba's now injured.
Oh, it's all falling to bits for Arsenal. Now, our main topic tonight regarding about the World Cup. If you didn't hear about the news that the World Cup is going to be playing 104 games with 48 teams in the World Cup in 2026 in America, Canada, and America, Canada, and Mexico. So the question to ask to the boys in chat: has Gianni Infantino lost his goddamn mind in relation to this announcement?
Well, I'll go first. Yeah, I'd say so. I don't know exactly how he's planning on doing it or how it's going to be, but this is why you have World Cup qualification. So, teams all start off on an even footing and they qualify through different groups. And then the
I
teams
mean,
that qualify.
is it truly even footing when you got teams like San Marino going against England? Sometimes.
Well, this is what I was about to say. The teams that qualify through the group then go into the main competition. We're going to now have teams that I understand that they want to get more teams involved, but then they should qualify, shouldn't they, and try harder
Yeah,
and put more money into the development.
what you don't want in the main tournament is to have, unless San Marino fans would love this, but most of us wouldn't want to see just a game where a team like San Marino in the main tournament gets beat 10-0 and just like that's pretty much that. Like, got no hope. Like, it's a very boring game at that point if there's too many. There's no kind of like end to end stakes of those.
The way I see it, 48 teams, and you're going to be playing 104 games after for a season that you're playing. Say for instance, and just for talking's sake, England. You're playing all your English. You've got all your English teams that play in either Champions League, Europa League, or Conference League. You're playing all your League Cups, your FA Cups, and your league games. You're talking about at least 60 plus games a season, give or take. And then if you qualify for the World Cup, if England qualify for the World Cup, then you're going to be playing another so many games over a month and a half, very, very back to back, and going to be traveling a lot as well because it's always going to be over 3 countries. It's just absolutely, it's crazy, and they're making. I read it today. £9 billion or $9 billion they're making just on this alone without any ticket sales. It's making £9 billion.
The only good thing that came out of that president's head this week is that he did listen to the backlash with the Women's World Cup and dropped the sponsor of that he was being criticized.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, I don't know about you, King. I think what this guy is doing to football is
he got re-elected.
He's ruining football, in my opinion. He's making it a business instead of an actual sport.
He claims he's bringing football back up, that he's connecting more countries that we haven't seen before. He's going to use it as publicity, like, oh, look now, we got more African teams in the tournament than we did before. That's his kind of like justification. Where like the teams like Egypt didn't get in, they'll get in now when they didn't qualify before. In the last one.
Yeah, King. So what's your opinion, like, kind of on why Infantino's doing this? Do you think he's doing it for the money side of things, to build his ego, or do you think it's just something else?
Yeah, I'd say it's for the money. No, there's no other reason to do it, really, is there?
No.
Because let's face it, he's not doing it for the players. The players probably already play too many games in a short space of time, especially putting like a Winter World Cup in, which apparently is something they want to do again.
Yeah, so, one of the other countries over there.
Sorry, on you go. Sorry.
I was just going to say, with doing a Winter World Cup, does that mean we're going to have to break for 3 months or something? Do you know what I mean? Like they're going to they're going to stop the end of the season and play a World Cup from May after the Champions League final through to September. Like, it's just ridiculous. So you have your qualification process. The teams get through the qualification process and then go into the World Cup, and that's why you get the better teams.
Pre-season will be non-existent in a few years.
That's why you get the better teams at the World Cup. It just seems stupid, and I don't understand why they're going to three teams in a group either.
Oh, they've changed that to 4. That's why they increased it. That's why they've increased it to 48 teams now. Because there's only going to be 32 teams, but they've now increased it to 48 to make it a 4-team group again.
It should stay as a 4-team group anyway.
Yep. So
these competitions that and do you know what happens in England when you've got the foreign managers coming in, like Pep Guardiola and Klopp? They want B teams and this cup to be scrapped and this whatever.
Yeah.
You know, we have a global package at the minute, not just us, but FIFA with the World Cup and the Euros. You know, it's a global package that they have that's not broken. It makes a lot of money for the countries where it is. It makes a lot of money in ticket sales. It makes a lot of money in sponsorships. It doesn't need to be revamped or refixed. I'm sick and tired of, to keep the young people happy, we'll change things and we'll do things differently. This has been in place for years and years and years, longer than all of us have been alive. We don't need to fucking change it for these.
It's like it's like the Super League, King. When the whole justification of Paris with the Super League is that kids are not interested in the old school football, so we need to change the European.
Of course, they're interested in it. That's why we make so much fucking money off it. Do you know what I mean?
That's why they still go to the games.
At the end of the day, it's all about money. It's all about money. And what they'll do is they use this. Oh, we want to keep the young people interested, so we're going to change it and we're going to do this. It doesn't need changing. If it needed changing, we'd be not getting these sponsorship deals in. We wouldn't be getting this money in. We wouldn't have like one of the best sport packages in the globe. Do you know what I mean? We wouldn't have that.
It's almost as bad as Todd Bowley's idea when he came in. He wanted to do that.
Only other sport that I know that makes as much money as this is probably for the Super Bowl in America, and they probably don't make as much money. I don't know, but I know that they're on a level where it's a worldwide, global thing, like the Premier League is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't see their owners and their people that do their competition changing around the Super League, do you? No, because they don't need to. It's a joke.
I mean, for me personally, I think it's diluting the sport. It's just diluting the sport. I mean, Infantino, he had his. I mean, okay, he took over from Blatter after the Qatar World Cup was awarded to them, either rightly or wrongly. We don't know the process. We would love to know what happened, but I doubt we'll ever find out until something maybe they have to tell them. But the way I see the World Cup is you've got the top teams in the world with maybe a certain few like kind of surprises. I mean, take Morocco for instance. This in the World Cup, they're a surprise package. Saudi Arabia, bit of a surprise package, beating Argentina. Obviously, Argentina went on to win a World Cup, but it's stuff like that you love. I mean, are you gonna have like fucking El Salvador versus Argentina playing in a World Cup final? No, it's all going to be the exact same teams.
The reason why, like, say in my country, Ireland, and yours, Chris, Scotland, love it so much is like when we get into these tournaments, we're just happy that we got, because it was because we very rarely get into. This would make it easy. I mean, easier things. I'm in
the top just now. See when Scotland qualified for the Euros. That was brilliant, because that was our first competition since 1998.
Like, yeah, for example, like us in 2016, Ireland getting to France. And we almost beat France, who made it to the final of the hosts. So
I mean,
it's just might as well give out free invitations to every country in the world. Just scrap the qualification.
Just hand it sweeties. There you go. There's a qualification.
You haven't qualified in a couple of years. Here you go. Come on.
Exactly. I mean, see, the thing is, right? I'm a great believer in what King said. You do a qualification for a reason. If you didn't qualify, tough shit.
The thing as well, like you say earlier about you have Morocco and that. The reason why you have these teams in there is because you have a European qualification, a South American qualification, an Asian and African qualification. So you get these different countries from different continents coming into the tournament, and it's not full of, say, the best 20 or 32 teams from South America and in Europe.
Yep.
Like, this is why it works. This is why it doesn't need to be changed.
For example, Senegal was there from beating Egypt. Mo Salah versus Mane. It was a good game to qualify. Went to penalties.
I mean, as you said, King, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Simple as. Now, let's kind of another wee kind of spawn off that. We kind of already touched that about it. The players. So, like we said, so they're going to be 104 games played over with 48 teams. So you're playing, was it four? You play 3 games. No, 4 games in the. No, is it 3 games in the group stage? Then you go into the knockouts. You're going to. I mean, how big's the squad's going to be? Because you're going to be traveling all over America, Canada, and Mexico. You're going to have to have a squad about 40 at least to cope with all the traveling, all the games, the heat as well in America and Mexico. Maybe not so much Canada, but the heat in some of these places, and you're playing on some of the grounds that are getting used are artificial as well. So that's gonna hamper players.
And it's going to be worse for like players who are already have a very sketchy injury record. Than
Exactly. I mean, you're literally gonna have to have a squad about 40 players for this World Cup coming up. And like I said before, it's gonna end players' careers sooner because you're playing so many games. They're gonna get burned out. They're gonna get serious bad injuries. And like you said, you're playing on this. It's like 5G hybrid grass. You're playing in these games in America with it. It's terrible.
With injury, we've seen a lot more injuries this season with the new format than they did this season, like halfway through the season World Cup.
Yeah,
than what we've ever seen.
I don't know what you guys' opinions on about the players, but I think it's just going to end players' careers earlier.
I mean, that's why I believe, like before the game, like Kevin De Bruyne pretty much criticized the Nations League, saying there's too many of this type of stuff. Why am I playing this?
Exactly. I mean, what about you, King?
Yeah, well, obviously it'll affect them with more games. There's going to be more games in the Champions League. There's going to be more games in the Europa League. There's going to be more
and now the club World Cup. There's more fixtures than that now. Coming.
Every tournament seems to be putting in more and more games. So where's it going to stop? What, we're going to be having a game every day? What's it going to come to?
The season never ends, King. It's going through the summer. No more pre-seasons. We're going to keep going.
It's no wonder players are dropping like flies. I mean, look. I know Arsenal have been good and whatever, but you look at say the Premier League, Chelsea, for instance, the amount of injuries they've had. Liverpool. This has been affected by the amount of games they're having to play, by having, a winter where it's been interrupted, by a World Cup where some players are playing extra games, some players are playing no games. It's just ridiculous. If anything, to be honest with you, the international football should be cut shorter because let's face it, friendlies are not terrible. Who actually watches any friendlies?
I mean, look at this. I mean, John's made a good point. Between the next 5-6 years, averages will go down from 32-ish to about under 30. I tend to agree with that because you play, like I said, you're playing more games. You're going to have more players getting injured, seriously injured. And these youngsters, when they're coming through, I mean, yes, they're athletes nowadays, but athletes can break easier because they're putting their body through vigorous training, day-to-day basis. I mean,
so
oh, you go, sorry.
I was just gonna say, so if what Jono's saying ends up being correct, generally players come into their prime between 28 and 32. For goalkeepers, it's a bit older.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see players not even in their prime, and then if that's the case, then 10 to 12 years, it'd be at age of 28 they're retiring.
Yep. It's, I mean, you look at it's player well-being needs to be. I mean three midfielders injured.
I mean, no.
We have Garnacho got him injured as well.
Right, I'm sorry, but Man United fans cannot complain about injuries. Chelsea have had a whole team out.
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying we all. Chris, I'm saying Liverpool and Chelsea have it worse with injuries. I'm saying a lot of teams have injuries. It's just also we have midfielders injured. That's why we bought midfielders. So the
thing is as well, like we mentioned. Sorry, Chris. We mentioned Liverpool and Chelsea getting injuries. Now, these are teams that can probably cope better than teams that are mid-table or lower Premier League clubs. For Villa, I know Villa have had some key injuries to key players, and we just have to get on with it. But for us to lose like a Diego Carlos, a Boubacar Kamara, say like Fulham with Paulinho, that hits us like you losing 3-4 players. We don't have a player to come in and replace them.
Like if you're Martinez, if you lose him, the drop in quality of your keepers is evident. You can see it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think we're going to start seeing a trend, and I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. But you're going to see big name players getting bad injuries, retiring early, and the world of in my opinion, the world of football will be ruined because of some guy who wants to make an extra couple of £100 million in his back pocket for a World Cup every 4 years. I mean, John also said Saudi Arabia want 2030 as well. I mean,
yeah, they were the sponsors for the women's World Cup. That's the one that they just dropped because of the controversy. The women were completely against.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that because of. I mean, same as what Qatar was. I mean, we both said it on the live streams, etc. That Qatar should never have got the World Cup. Yes, it was a good World Cup to watch for a football fan point of view, but for where it's held with their past with their human rights stuff, etc. It's horrible, and as John said, the mental health of football players, they're not getting any support at all. It is abysmal, and I hope. I mean, we're just three guys sitting behind a screen talking about it, but the players themselves need to stand up and say, right, what enough's enough. Enough is enough. But they'll be under contract as well. They can't. So, for instance, say if it was
like
Messi,
before the World Cup, like Bruno and Ericsson did fully criticize it in an interview afterwards when they're asked about it, saying they have to play it, but shouldn't be there. We all know that.
Right, well, players don't have to play in the international team. They can withdraw themselves from the squad.
Yeah, I mean, but
then they'd be letting their whole country down at that point. They'll be blamed.
If enough players do it, it's about making a stand in it.
But they tried to make
at the minute.
They tried to make a stand with those armbands, and they completely dropped it when suddenly they said
it's just a little small gesture that don't work.
Players,
but they should have gone through it.
Like doctors and nurses in England have been striking because of paying teachers. Yeah, the only way to do it is to basically go on strike.
Yep.
If you haven't got the players there to play the tournaments, they can't be played.
Yeah, but things will change. The reason why they would, because they tried to do a protest with a thing, and the moment they got consequences, which most protests do have consequences, like we'll buck you if you heard, everyone completely backed off, and where's the point? They then just played the games normally and just said, we're angry at this. It doesn't work at that point. If you said you're going to make a statement, at least stick with the statement. Take the bucking.
Yeah, just, I mean,
be one with your word.
I mean, my personal opinion on it is that players should take a stand and say, listen, I'm not playing this tournament.
Yeah, but even if it was like a small gesture, like I said, Chris, with like they said they were going to do, then completely going against it the moment they said, we'll book you if you do it, you've just completely gone against everything you just said. Every point you just made is now completely invalid because you're now saying, oh, well, I'll get booked, so I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do my statement.
I mean,
maybe these younger players need to take more lessons off Gary Lineker and his mates.
I agree. Oh, excuse me.
Well, just take a lesson off Ronaldo and just do an interview. Don't go to.
Nah.
Don't show up for your team. Do an interview. Sure, Piers would love to talk to him. He seems like a man without friends.
But anyway, any more opinions on our beloved Gianni Infantino? Do you think he is the right man to take the game forward? Please let us know in our Discord or on Twitter or on our brand new website as well.
He did say in a speech today that he loves all of you, even his haters. So
he's egotistical. So as you may have seen, we have got a new website, footballnationpodcast.co.uk, I think it is. Yes, the footballnationpodcast.co.uk. It is brand new.
But Chris, what can you find on the website?
Let me finish. So you can find information about us three, Jono, Kai, we've got Paul on there as well. We've got a new guy. I think his name's Paul as well. No, Matt. Sorry, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Yes, Matt. There's too many names, so try to remember. And we have now got blogs on there. So if you are interested in becoming a writer for us, have a look at what King's wrote regarding about Aston Villa. Have a look at Paul's regarding about the National League, and have a look at what Matt has wrote about Liverpool. I'll be probably getting involved soon. I'm trying to touch up my writing skills. So I haven't written in a long time, but it is fantastic. It is fantastic. I don't know how to type. I don't know how to write. So
I'll be writing some things on it soon.
So it doesn't surprise me.
Shut up.
One's Irish and one's Scottish, and they probably both can't write.
Hey, I can write quite well.
Thank you very much. I've just not. It's the what is it?
I've got a certain sports journalism. I'll have you know, King.
Just make sure you pick up the pen and not the beer.
Hey,
you can do both.
You can do both. It brings creativity. But yes, King's on Aston Villa is fantastic. If you haven't read it, then get to it because it's fantastic about all the kind of future of Aston Villa, what's going on, some big things possible happening at Aston Villa, and yeah, if you're interested, please get in contact with us on the website or via our socials at the Football Nation Podcast. You can message me, Chris, on Twitter. You can message King. You can message Boom. You can message Jono. We're always happy to help. But guys, thank you very much tonight for coming on. It's been a pleasure as always. So, Mr. King, where can we find you on your socials, please?
You can follow me on Twitch at FMKing 007, or on Twitter FMKing, or on the Road to Legends draft.
Thank you very much. Or here, yes. And Boom, where can we find you?
You can find me on Crazy Boom _ on both Twitter and Twitch. You can find me on YouTube on Boompool. You can find me here on this one, and hopefully we're at 300 subscribers soon.
That's just about to plug there. Thank you very much, Boom. But you can find me, your host, Chris Watt, on Twitter at Chris_Watt89. You can also find me on the Football Nation podcast most weeks when I'm not busy. And like I said, if you can reach that, if you can get 300 subscribers tonight, you'll get a pat in the back.
As Pep once say, we only need two. Twice!
Yes. But thank you very much, guys, tonight, and have a great weekend. Hope your team does well this weekend. Have a good one.